You spent 30 years building this. Law school, public defender, private practice, district attorney, appellate court, and now, finally, the bench. Judge, the honorable, your name on a brass plate, a robe that means something, a gavel that decides futures. People stand when you walk in. Lawyers call you Your Honor. Defendants tremble when you speak. You are the law, the final word, the last stop before prison or freedom. And for a long time, that was enough, until someone showed you just how much that cower was worth. It starts at a fundraiser, one of those black tie events where lawyers drink too much and politicians pretend to care. You're shaking hands, making small talk, doing the dance. Then a man sits down next to you at the bar, expensive suit, calm eyes, the kind of man who doesn't introduce himself because he expects you to already know who he is. You do. He's a fixer. Everyone in the legal world knows his name, but nobody says it out loud. He represents people, wealthy people, dangerous people, who have problems that need to disappear. He doesn't pitch you. He doesn't bribe you. He just talks. He talks about your house, the one with the second mortgage. He talks about your daughter's medical bills, the ones insurance won't cover. He talks about your salary, $180,000 a year. Sounds like a lot, until you realize first-year associates at corporate firms make more than you. Then he says something that sticks. You hold people's lives in your hands every single day, and they pay you less than a real estate agent. He slides his card across the bar. Just a phone number, nothing else. If you ever feel like your work should reflect your worth, call me. You put the card in your pocket. You tell yourself you'll throw it away when you get home. You don't throw it away. It sits in your desk drawer for 3 months. You see it every morning when you reach for a pen, and every morning you close the drawer. Then the hospital calls. Your daughter needs another surgery. The bill is $140,000. Insurance covers $40,000. The rest is yours. You sit in your office after hours, staring at the drawer, and you do the math. Your savings, your retirement, your wife's income. Even if you drain everything, you're $60,000 short. You open the drawer. You pick up the card. You dial the number. An answer answers. Not the man from the bar. Someone else. Professional. Polite. Like a receptionist at a law firm. We've been expecting your call, Your Honor. That sentence should terrify you. It doesn't, and that's the first sign that something inside you has already changed. The first case is easy, too easy. That's by design. A man is charged with tax fraud, white collar, no violence, no victims you can see. The evidence is strong, but not airtight. A guilty verdict would be justified. So would a not guilty if you squint hard enough. The fixer calls you the night before sentencing. He doesn't say, find him not guilty. He's smarter than that. He says, there are legitimate evidentiary concerns with the prosecution's financial records. A careful judge might find reasonable doubt. He's giving you the language, the legal justification, the cover story. And then he mentions a number. $200,000 wired to an offshore account in your wife's maiden name, untraceable, clean. You sit on the bench the next morning. You look at the defendant. He's calm, too calm for a man facing 15 years, because he already knows what's coming. You deliver the verdict, not guilty. You cite evidentiary inconsistencies. You reference case law. You sound like a judge making a principled decision. The prosecution is stunned. The defense pretends to be surprised. And you bang your gavel, stand up, and walk back to your chambers like nothing happened. That night, you check the account. The money is there. $200,000 for one word, one decision, one lie dressed up in a black robe. You tell yourself it was a gray area, that the evidence really was weak, that an honest judge could have reached the same conclusion. But you know the truth. You didn't weigh the evidence, you weighed the payment, and it was the easiest money you've ever made. The second case comes a month later, then a third, then a fourth. They're all the same pattern: white-collar, financial crimes, fraud, embezzlement, the kind of cases where the victims are spreadsheets and the defendants wear $5,000 watches. You rationalize it beautifully. Nobody's getting hurt. These are victimless crimes with debatable evidence. You're not freeing murderers. You're just interpreting the law creatively. The money flows. 200,000 here, 300,000 there. You pay off your daughter's medical bills. You pay off the mortgage. You buy your wife a new car and tell her you made a good investment. She doesn't ask questions. She's just happy you're not stressed anymore. You're not stressed. For the first time in years, you feel powerful. Not courtroom powerful. That was always an illusion. Real power. The kind that comes with knowing you can do whatever you want and no one can stop you. But that feeling, that invincibility, that's not power. That's the beginning of the end. 6 months in, the cases change. The fixer calls about a new client, drug trafficking. Not a white-collar businessman in a nice suit, a cartel lieutenant, caught with 200 kilos of cocaine and enough evidence to put him away for life. You hesitate. This isn't tax fraud. This isn't a gray area. This is a violent criminal with blood on his hands. You tell the fixer, no, you have limits, you have a line. The fixer laughs. Not a threatening laugh. Worse, a disappointed one. Like a parent watching a child say something naive. Your Honor, you lost your limits 6 months ago. You just didn't notice. Then he says something that changes everything. We have records of every transaction, every case, every verdict you've sold, time-stamped, documented. If you say no to this one, we don't need you anymore, and people we don't need become people we expose. There it is, the trap, the one you walked into with your eyes open and your hand out. You're not their judge, you're their property. You take the case, you suppress key evidence on a technicality. The cartel lieutenant walks free. The prosecution is furious. The DEA is furious. The media covers it for a day and moves on. But inside the courthouse, people start to whisper. Not about you specifically, not yet, but about the case, about how the evidence was solid, about how the ruling didn't make sense, about how something felt wrong. You hear the whispers in the hallway, in the cafeteria, in the parking garage, and every whisper sounds like a countdown. Now the cases are worse: armed robbery, assault, a hit-and-run that killed a teenager. The fixer sends them one after another, and every time you push back, the answer is the same. You're already in. One more won't change anything. And technically, he's right. You crossed the line so long ago that the line doesn't exist anymore. What's one more corrupt verdict when you've delivered 15? But now you're seeing faces, real faces. The mother of the teenager who was killed, sitting in your courtroom, waiting for justice. You look at her, and she looks at you with so much hope. She believes in you. She believes in the system. She believes that the man who killed her son will pay. You bang the gavel. Case dismissed on procedural grounds. She screams. She has to be escorted out by bailiffs. You can hear her crying in the hallway, and the sound follows you home. It follows you to bed. It follows you into your dreams. You drink a bottle of wine and stare at the ceiling and wonder when you became this person. The answer is simple. You became this person the moment you picked up the phone. Everything after that was just momentum. You start making mistakes, small ones at first. You dismiss a case without the proper procedural language. Another judge notices and asks about it. You explain it away, but the look on her face says she's not convinced. You access case files outside normal hours. IT flags it. You say you were preparing for a hearing. They accept it, for now. You lose weight, you stop sleeping, you snap at your wife for no reason. Your hands shake when you hold the gavel, and you're terrified that someone in the courtroom will see. Your clerk, the young woman who's worked for you for 3 years, who looks up to you, who wants to be a judge herself someday. She pulls you aside one afternoon. "Judge, is everything okay? You seem different." You smile. You say you're fine. You say the caseload is heavy this quarter. She nods, but she doesn't believe you. You can see it in her eyes, the same doubt you've been seeing everywhere. You're unraveling, and the worst part is you can feel it happening in real time, and you can't stop it. Then one afternoon, you get a visit you've been dreading. A man from the Office of Judicial Conduct walks